So when we're analyzing a fungi, one of the first things that we look at is the underside of the pileus. So remember that the pileus simply refers to as the cap of the fungi. Now, underneath this fungi, we see these gills, these gill-like structures. Since this fungi exhibits gills, we refer to it as a lamella. Lamella simply means gilled. And this entire underneath of that pileus is referred to as the hymenium. So when we talk about the hymenium, it's actually divided into this region over here, and then we have these two sub-regions right below the hymenium. So the hymenium is the area that is most superficial. Remember that when we talk about the spore distribution and karyogamy and plasmogamy, we talk about the basidia. So over here we can actually see a basidia. We see the sterigmata or the sterigma right over here. And then the sterigma are holding on to these basidiospores, which are going to be released into the environment. So on the surface, the most superficial layer is the hymenium. It's holding that basidia. The basidia has the sterigma, and then we have these potential basidiospores. And this is referred to as the lamella hymenium because it's a gilled hymenium. Right below the hymenium, we have the subhymenium. Now, the subhymenium is generally a supportive layer for the hyphae. So this layer allows for the support, which is going to allow for the growth of the hymenium above. Okay? Now, right below the subhymenium, we have the trauma. And there's actually 3 different traumas that we're not going to go into detail right now, but we will later on. But the trauma is essentially, it can be described as this fleshy material on the inner side of the mushroom or basidiocarp. And this trauma can actually be analyzed under the microscope to determine which kind of trauma we actually have. Now, this comes across as quite simple. It's a lot of terms, but to quickly review, when we talk about a fungi, when we talk about a basidiocarp, we look on the underside of the pileus. The pileus means cap. Underneath the cap, we find gills. If it's gilled, it's going to be referred to as a lamella. Now, this entire underside of the pileus is referred to as the hymenium. So it's a gilled hymenium, so it's going to be a lamella hymenium. Now, the most superficial layer is going to be the hymenium, which has our basidiocarp, our spore-bearing structures, which our basidia has our sterigmata or sterigma, and we have the potential basidiospores, which are going to be released into the environment. Right below, we have that supportive structure of the subhymenium. And then right below the subhymenium, we have the trauma.